In this lesson, I want to explain about a combination of for loop and arrays. Until now, if we want to specify how many times the for loop should run, we just used a fixed number. For example, 5. So this line, this piece of code, would run 5 times. Now, if we have a array, in this example array of strings, and the length of array is 3, Mazda, Ford, and Volvo. So we have in this array 3 elements. Cars at element at 0, this is the first element, the second element, and the third element, which indicated by the number 2 in the square brackets. We have 3 elements. So we would write the for loop as so. As long as I is less than 3, which is when I is 0, when I is 1, and when I is 2. 3 times we want this for loop to run, and every time we print to the screen the cars at I. First time I is 0, so cars at I, element I will be Mazda. Then when I is 1, this Ford will be printed, and when I is 2, Volvo will be printed. But sometimes we have a problem. Sometimes we don't know exactly, we don't know at all, the length of our array. In this case, we create this array. So we know exactly that this array is contains only 3 elements. But sometimes we receive an array from someone else, and we don't know exactly the length of this array. So we have a problem. What would we write here in the length? How many times we want this for to run? So luckily, we have a solution. After we create this array, we have a lot of things that hidden inside this object, in this array object. If we just type the dot after our object, this array, cars array, we see that there is a lot of things inside. Of course, we don't know them yet and how to use them, but we have a lot of things inside. One of them is the property called length. And this property tells us what's the length of this array. And we, of course, can use it. If we will print it, cars array.length, we will see that this array is 3. Its length is 3. Let's run this program. Right-click, debug, start new instance. And we see here the number 3, which printed here. Console write line, cars array.length. So inside our object, there is a property called length, and we can use it to know the length of our array. Let's put it in remark. Let's see how we can use it in a for loop. So this is our array. Its length is 3. So here, instead of writing a fixed number 3, we can use it. Just as simple as that. Cars array.length, which in our case is 3. If the array was more than that, 10, 20, 100, then the length will reflect it. Every time the length tells us exactly the length of the array. So in this case is only 3. So this for loop will run 3 times. when I is less than 3, I when it is 0, when it's 1, and when it's 2, 3 times, this will be printed. And exactly the same, it's also in other type of arrays. For example, int array. It's exactly the same. Int array numbers, new int. In this case, this array, its length is 4. And we can use the length property to tell the for loop to run 4 times. Exactly as the string array, also the int array, and any other arrays have this property length.